Rejection doesn't hurt as bad when you don't betray yourself to be chosen. Rejection hurts, of course it does, but if you were being your full self, honoring your truth, and still got rejected, it stings, but you can move on. But when you've bent over backwards, betrayed your own voice, and still didn't get chosen, that pain hits different. That's heartbreak with shame on top. Those of you that may be wondering where I'm reading from, that is from my upcoming book, This Is For You. I plan to have that released sometime in July, at the latest, very latest August. I'm putting the final touches on it, putting some pieces in there, because every time I think I'm done, I think of something else very reflective that I want to share with you all. So I am excited about this. I feel it's going to be very healing. It was very healing for me writing it. So be on the lookout for that within the next month or so. Now, let's get into this Healing Sunday episode. This video is not to convince you that rejection shouldn't hurt at all. It's to convince you that abandoning yourself is going to make the rejection sting that much worse. Because rejection is always going to hurt, regardless of how healed you are, regardless of how deeply you know your worth, regardless of how confident you are. Rejection is always going to hurt. But it's when you've lowered your standards. It's when you've gone against what you really want. It's when you've ignored your intuition, or when you've bent over backwards to prove yourself, bent over backwards to be whoever they needed you to be so they choose you. It's when you do those things and they still reject you in the end that hurts the worst. And it's because you have shame on top of that hurt. It's not only the rejection from them that you're feeling. It's the shame of you going out your way and it's still not being enough. When we chase love or validation, we start to trade pieces of ourselves. We abandon our boundaries. We ignore our intuition. We let someone else's desires and wants override our truth and what we want. And we're doing all of this just so we don't lose them. But what if you lose yourself in that process? You know, being chosen isn't worth it if you lose yourself in the end. And maybe the truth is that you really don't even want them like that. You really don't love them. You really don't like them like that. You just want them to want you. And so it's like when someone rejects you, when someone doesn't act like they want you, it puts these ideas in your head that something is wrong with you. And so now you start to bend and do whatever you need to do for this person to want you, because you don't want to sit with the idea that maybe you are unlovable or that something's wrong with you. You are confused about why they don't want you. Now you're jumping through all these hoops because you just want them to want you. You may not even really want them yourself. And when you chase people like that, people that reject you or people that seem to not want you, you believe that they must know something more about you than you know about yourself. You basically are not trusting your worth in this instance, because you feel like that if you were so worthy, if you were so lovable, if you were such a good person, all these things that you may have known about yourself before you came across them, then you believe that they should want you. But not everyone is going to want you, and that's okay. You're not for everyone. And that's hard to accept, but it's easier when you walk away in the beginning before trying to prove yourself to someone that doesn't want you, because no matter what you do, they're not going to want you anyway. They're just going to sit there and take advantage of you needing to be wanted and needing to be chosen. They're going to take advantage of all that you're going to do and all the hoops you're going to jump through just for them. And so maybe they'll stick around for a little bit, but that doesn't mean that they are choosing you. They're just loving how you're loving them and how you're jumping through hoops for them. And so, yeah, in the beginning, when you realize that they don't want you like that, it's hard to walk away, and that hurts. And so to deal with that hurt, you think, let me just try to make them love me. No, it's better if you walk away and hurt alone. I promise you, if you just walk away and give that up in the beginning and hurt on your own and deal with it on your own, you are going to come out feeling better that you chose yourself in the end, and that you didn't jump through those hoops, and that you didn't stick around. And so that's when the shift happens. The shift happens when you choose yourself, even in the face of rejection. When you stand in your truth, stay rooted in what you want, speak your needs, and stay rooted in who you are. Rejection will still hurt, but it won't destroy you. You won't fall apart from it. And it would be because you didn't abandon yourself this time. I'm going to share a personal story of mine of when I was rejected and it hurt, but I ended up being grateful in the end that I didn't abandon myself for this person. I was dating this guy that I liked a lot. He was attracted to me, I'll admit. I seen him and he was tall and I'm like, okay, he's kind of attractive. I'm like, okay, so let's see what he's about. And so we started chatting and talking. We met on Tinder, by the way. And we had good conversation. Everything was going great. I liked talking to him. I liked getting to know him. And then he decided to set up a date and we went out. He took me to the movies, went out to eat. He paid for both. Everything was going great. I was enjoying the date, getting to know him. I started to like him. And so I was just out of my phase of doing the most for men. I had just healed from my past toxic relationships, right? And I still had this like anxious attachment, but I became wiser and smart enough to not do the most, no matter how much it's like ticking in me on the inside to do it when I like someone. It was hard. I liked this guy a lot and I liked talking to him and I wanted things to progress. I felt like we got stuck in the standstill. After that date, nothing else materialized. We talked on the phone every day and sometimes twice a day. And this went on for a whole month, but no second date. And so towards the end of that month, I started to hint at, hey, we can go out on another date. And my treat, I'll get us drinks, which I'm okay with. I was okay with doing that. He paid for the first date and I'm liking you. Okay. I'm okay with paying for drinks for the second date. I probably shouldn't have said that, but oh well, I did. And so he heard me say that and he didn't take me up on the offer. And so I'm like, okay, so what's going on? Just to rewind a bit, y'all. Before we went on that first date, he had invited me to some house party he was having. And I declined because I wanted to finish getting to know him. And then also, not only that, y'all, he hit me with the there's going to be other girls there at the party. Is that going to be a problem? And I didn't like how he positioned it to me. I felt like he was trying to play with my emotions and see where I was at and see how much I liked him and see if I was going to get jealous. I didn't like that. And so I'm like, I don't care about that. But if they're there and they're interested in you as well, then I don't see the point in me coming to that. And I told him something like that. I said, I wouldn't feel comfortable being there. And I said, I'll just rather wait for our date. And so I didn't go. And that was probably a red flag. And I knew it, but I didn't take the bait. And I forgot, even before that, at the beginning, when we were chatting on the Tinder app, I just thought of this. And the same day that we matched and the same day we were chatting, he asked me to just pop up on him and come meet him somewhere with his other friends downtown. And I'm like, that's not how I want to be courted. I've done that in the past with my toxic relationships, just going with the okie doke, And so I'm like, no. I said, I can't remember what I said, but I declined it. I didn't want to do a last minute date. I didn't want to just meet up somewhere. I wanted a date planned. And so I was like, no, I'm not going to be able to do that. And so we continued to talk. There was a boundary I set. And I'm proud of myself for setting that boundary and not meeting up with him. The old me would have met up with him and been like, okay. No, did not do that. And so that's when we started talking more. We took our talking off of the chat and into the text messages, and that's when he set up the date when we went to the movie and the dinner. All right, so fast forward again. So I'm feeling like it's not progressing. I'm feeling like nothing more is coming of this, and I feel it in my bones. And so as a last, I guess it's like a last pitch to see what he wanted, I invited him to a party that I was having for my mom at my house. And my cousins and everything were going to be there. My family was going to be there. And I told him, hey, if you'd like to come through, you can. And when I did that, I think that made him realize that I was serious and I was not for playing games. Because for one, I had set the boundary in the beginning. You're going to take me on a date. I'm not just meeting up with you somewhere. For two, I had never slept with him. I wasn't meeting you at your house if I did not feel comfortable that this was really something for real. I'm not meeting you at your house. I'm not coming to your house for anything. That's getting too comfortable. And so I didn't do that. I didn't explain all that to him. He didn't need to know all that. But I said no to just show up at the little house party thing. And I was like, no, I'll just wait for our date. And I did, because it's like I had been there before and I knew what I was not going to do anymore. And I wasn't going to just jump through these hoops to be chosen. I liked him, yeah, and I wanted him to like me, but if he didn't like me and how I was presenting myself and he couldn't meet my needs and my standards, then what would be the point? Another toxic relationship? No. And so after I asked him to come to my house for our mom's party, it's like a few days after that, he texted me while I was at work saying, hey, I need to talk to you when you get off work. And me being me, I'm like, I don't want to wait till I get off. I just got to work. I'm going to be thinking about this all day. I need you to tell me now. And so I told him, I said, I prefer if you just go ahead and just text me. Tell me now, what is it? Because I had a feeling what it was. So he was like, basically, I don't think this is going to work out. I can't give you what you're looking for. I can't be the man that you want me to be, this and that and the other. And we shouldn't talk anymore and all of that. And I was hurt. I was crying at work. I had to leave work early because I really liked this guy. And deep down, I knew that something was off. But deep down, I was also hoping that he would rise to the occasion of being with someone like me and recognizing that I am a catch and that I shouldn't be the one that got away. I wanted him to realize those things about me on his own. I wasn't going to jump through hoops anymore to make a man realize that. So, yeah. Deep down, I was hoping he recognized it, but I wasn't going to sell myself short. I wasn't going to abandon my needs, my wants, and my desires for him. So yeah, when I got that text saying that he was going to have to end things there with me and that it wasn't going to work out, it did hurt. Being rejected like that hurt. And I cried. It was not only that, it was just rejection hurts, period. But it was not only that, it was so much on top of that. It was the hope I had that he could be the man that I really was hoping he could be for me. You know, all of that just went away because I liked the conversation we had. I liked getting to know him. And I liked a lot of things about him. And I was just so hoping that it would just materialize into something more. And so it's like that hope died. And also, it was just the pain of like dating and being rejected because it's like this was my first time really actually dating. And just the pain of that, of like, is this how it's going to go when I'm trying to meet someone? Like, I guess I was hoping that I'd meet a man right away. But I'm like, is this how it's going to go? Am I going to like a guy, talk to him for a whole month, and just for him to be like, yeah, this ain't working out? It hurts. But after like a week of being upset about that, I appreciated him rejecting me. I was okay. And it was like, at least I didn't sleep with him. At least I didn't jump through hoops. At least I didn't do the most. At least I didn't go out my way. At least I did not abandon myself. At least I didn't betray myself. At least I didn't lower my standards. At least I kept my boundaries intact. I was thinking about all those things. Like, I'm so glad that I kept all those things intact and I did not bend. And yeah, it still ended in rejection. And it also made me realize that it wasn't him necessarily rejecting me. It was more so him rejecting the opportunity to date someone like me because he knew that he couldn't show up for me. The way that I was carrying myself and my presence and the way that I was maneuvering that time that we did talk for that month, the way that I acted and had my boundaries, let him know that he was going to have to really step up, that this was going to be something for real, that I was looking for something for real. And I realized that that may have scared him off because he wasn't ready for that. It didn't scare him off because I was doing too much. It scared him off because he wasn't ready for that. And so when you do that, you realize that the rejection doesn't hurt as bad. It won't hurt as long either. It's something that you can heal through because it's like you kept you intact. You didn't lose yourself. So there was no shame in anything. There was no shame in what I did. It was just like damn, I'm not chosen. That hurts. It's always going to hurt. But it can hurt a little less if you don't lose yourself in the process. And so you just have to realize that you're not here to be performative for love. You're not here to audition for love. You're not here to like mold yourself to fit what a collective of men want. The real win here is knowing that you did not betray yourself for love, that you did not abandon yourself for some man. And you have to understand that the right man that is in alignment with you and ready for you and ready for all the love you have to offer, ready for your genuineness, your kindness. The man that is ready for all of that and ready for something real and ready to love you how you deserve, he's never going to ask you to jump through hoops. He's not going to want you or need you to portray yourself for him. He's not going to want you to lose yourself for him, because if you lose yourself for him, then he's not going to be attracted to you anymore, because the woman that he fell in love with is not going to be there. He's going to want you to always to show up being the woman that he fell in love with, the woman that chose herself, the woman that knows her worth, the woman that has standards, that has boundaries, the woman that exudes confidence, the woman that knows who she is. He's going to want that woman to always remain. And so I want you to take away from this is that always choose yourself. Even if it hurts to do so, even if it means losing them, always choose yourself. And choosing yourself is sometimes going to hurt. It's not always going to feel good. It's not always going to be a happy, joyous occasion. But I can tell you, in the end, it is going to feel good because you are still going to have you intact. You didn't lose yourself for someone else. Because I just think of how deeper it would have hurt if I really gave myself to that man, if I really just didn't have any boundaries, any standards, and just went against everything that I wanted in a man and everything that I wanted in a dating experience. If I just went against all of my standards, everything that I've built up, all of my wisdom, all my growth, if I just said, forget it all, I want this man, I'm going to just do whatever he wants. Not only would the rejection have hurt worse in the end, it would have hurt worse because I would have gave more. I would have attached more to him. Because when you give all of that and when you just pour all yourself into someone that you really want to want you, you are becoming attached to them. You're becoming attached to them emotionally, physically, all of it. And so I wasn't that attached to him. I liked him, but I was not that attached to him. I just wanted him to like me, and I was hoping that he could meet my standards. That's it. And so that's why you have to take your time. You cannot be out here attaching to every man that you want to want you because you just like the chemistry that you all have. Take your time. Choose yourself. Choose wisely. Okay? Okay. So that's all I got for this Healing Sundays episode on rejection, girlfriends. Choose yourself. Until the next Healing Sundays, peace out.